Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. So I'm currently painting a red panda off screen, very on brand for my channel. It's in watercolour and will hopefully one day be a sticker. So you may be wondering why I've covered this side with green post-it notes. Well, it's for a future video and I love a surprise, so let's go. I am a bit poorly, so my voice is sounding more grovelly than usual. I don't know if anyone else does this when they're poorly, but I'm doing a lot of singing deep songs, a little bit of baby lock them doors and Okay, anyway, I really wanted to do a sketchbook page on one of my favourite birds. I think they are my favourite birds. I love them. Pigeons. Okay, and I know people hold pigeons differently in their hearts. Some people see them as regular, old, everyday birds, don't care about them. Others despise them. They see them as city pests. I know my grandma calls them rats of the sky, flying rats, rats with wings. But pigeons are one of my favourite birds. I think they're so cool. For example, did you know these birds produce their own milk? They fly incredible... Okay, this fact isn't as interesting after the milk fact. They can fly incredibly fast. Some have even been decorated war heroes. They've been awarded bravery medals. They've had their own award ceremonies. Pigeons are so cool. And these feathered friends have a history more incredible than you'd expect, having been with human civilization for thousands of years. And today I want to show a little love to these amazing birds. Recording this video has been a huge learning process for me. I need to film from the side. I have lots of shots where my hand's covering all of it, or the camera is really shaky at the end, especially. So I've got a lot of time lapses in here to try and get as much quality footage as I possibly can. Don't worry, I've learnt my lesson. In the future I will be filming from different angles. Now I understand why a lot of YouTube artists do that. And yeah, let's start with the fact that is really unusual. Pigeons can make their own milk. Okay, well, you definitely couldn't put it on your cereal. I mean, baby pigeons do. But they actually produce something called crop milk. This is milk they make in, would you believe it, their crop, which is a little pouch at the front of their neck that stores food before it moves to their stomach. Crop milk has even more nutrients and protein than cow's milk, but that still wouldn't make me buy it at a supermarket. Oh, can you imagine small bottles of pigeon milk just on the shelves? Oh, I really want to draw that now. But it would actually be disgusting because crop milk isn't exactly a liquid. It has more of a curd-like consistency, so the supermarkets would be lined with little tiny bottles of pigeon milk that are just expired milk. It would be chunky and it would be disgusting. But what's really interesting is that the milk doesn't just come from the mother. The father can also make it and feed it to his chicks. So when other bird parents are out risking their lives trying to catch enough insects to feed their babies, adult pigeons just chill and eat for themselves. Because pigeons can grow a lot and super fast too, just from crop milk. It's such an amazing ability, and only 2 other birds that I know of in my research can do something like this: flamingos and emperor penguins. If I haven't convinced you pigeons are cool already, here's another fact. Wood pigeons are very powerful flyers. Now you wouldn't think that by looking at them. What does Moto say? They're plump, they're round. These birds are fluffy. They can reach up to speeds of 77 miles per hour. That's 123 kilometers per hour. That's faster than most motorway speed limits. They are actually one of the fastest pigeons in the world. But their cousins, racing pigeons, are sought after birds. In 2020, a 2-year-old female racing pigeon by the name of Mu Kim was bought by a bidder from China for the record amount of £1.4 million. That's $1.9 million. So next time you see a pigeon casually strutting in the park, just know their cousin is probably worth a lot more than you. They have family members in higher places. Okay, let's bring it back to wood pigeons because they're my favourite. They have long and broad wings, which gives them both speed and the ability to change directions very, very quickly. which they really need to escape their predators. Birds such as peregrine falcons, goshawks, and sparrowhawks, to name just a few. And these birds aren't only fast and rich and nimble, they have endurance. They can migrate across entire continents, hundreds of miles between Europe and North Africa, and some even take a cheeky vacation to the Middle East. Wood pigeons are known for the loud claps of their wings when they take off into the air. It's not just a random clapping noise. Wood pigeons have a built-in alarm system. When startled, pigeons slap their wings together above their back when they're mid-air to create a clapping sound that warns other pigeons of danger. Sometimes male pigeons even do it on purpose to show off to their female pigeons or other manly pigeons in their territory. It's super clever, and researchers believe that this strategy is to startle potential attackers for the split second it takes them to make their escape. I mean, we could probably do the same by carrying a foghorn. Here's another fact. Wood pigeons are secretly beautiful. Well, I think they're beautiful, but to us, they might look plain grey, or maybe you see them cheekily flash a little green or purple, but they have distinctive white patches on their neck and wings. These markings actually reflect ultraviolet or UV light that us humans can't see. To other birds, wood pigeons glow like neon signs. Other pigeons use these glowing features to recognise each other and even choose mates. Scientists have found out that some birds judge the health and quality of their mates based on UV patterns in their feathers. That's crazy. Basically, pigeons have built-in club lights that they use to meet up with friends and dance and pick up partners. So, if pigeons were to go out dancing and partying with other bird species, it would be noticed that they drink a little differently. Most birds drink water by scooping it up in their mouths and tilting their heads back so that gravity can help them swallow. But not pigeons, they're extra and have a special trick. They can suck water up like a straw. That's right, no awkward head tilting needed. This makes them way more efficient at hydrating, which is super helpful for a bird that travels long distances. Let's talk a little bit more about where they're going home to. Originally, wood pigeons were, wait for it, woodland birds, living in the woods. But now they've started to become more urbanised. Their parents lived a sheltered life, but now they're becoming more streetwise. They're now experts at urban life. They know when humans are most likely to drop their food. They nest in buildings like they would on cliffs, and they've even learned to trust or avoid certain people. They can recognise around 100 different faces, so don't make enemies with pigeons. Well, I mean you could, they'd just avoid you. But don't, they're the coolest birds. Some have even been caught sneaking into shops to steal a little snack. Talk about street smarts. I mean, it's giving Oliver Twist.
Please, sir, I just want one more sheep.
So I'm currently drawing a baby wood pigeon, and I think they're really cute, even though they're really alien looking and very hairy. I mean, they definitely grow up when they become adults, and there's a reason they're not on the covers of bird magazines. But they're babies, so no hate, they're adorable. I think they're really cute. They're just very odd looking. But yeah, I will leave you for a moment to enjoy the beauty, or whatever word you want to use to describe, the little baby wood pigeon sketch. I have finished the sketches, and I have a few favourites. The bigger ones, the cartoon ones, I would like to make into stickers. The other ones are better observation pieces, but I want to experiment with watercolour and colour pencil to see which one will give the best vibe for the wood pigeons. And I absolutely adore the bottom left corner. I think they'd make a really good sticker, so let's get on with colouring. So I started off by using colouring pencils. Sorry if you hear any weird noises, my dog just walked in the room and she has really bad separation anxiety, so she needs to be at my feet or in my lap. So So yeah, she's very cute. But I started off with grey base colour and it was going well until my pencil broke. I was fuming because they're expensive. Art supplies are really expensive and I got them for my birthday as a treat. So here I am uselessly trying to use this broken nib, pretending that it doesn't matter, that this part of the pencil is just wasted now. Anyway, moving on. I wanted to try and layer as many colours as possible because I think that pigeons are actually really quite colourful. They have quite a pinky blush on their necks and faces, and everything's quite blue. So I wanted to make sure that I definitely had a lot of blue grey in there so that it didn't look, like a really boring dull grey. I wanted it to be quite vibrant because when you look at wood pigeons, they do have a lot of colours in their feathers. My dog is trying to lick my feet. Sorry, that's so gross. But anyway, I wanted to make sure that they had really cute little rosy cheeks, and pigeons have the cutest pink feet. I think they're so adorable, and they have really bright orange beaks. I didn't realise how vibrant they actually are, and I did put an outline here, but I think it is too strong. It's a really dark grey and it kind of takes away from the subtle pastel colours that I've already popped in. So a little bit disappointed with that. I might try and redo a lot of these pigeons on a watercolour sheet because I quite like the way how soft the watercolours came out as well, as you can see here. Now with the watercolours, I already mixed the grey with a more blue and pink undertone, and this really worked when I was laying down the base colours. And I love the way that watercolour paints blend when you're doing shadows. It looks really good for feathers, I think, because if you're trying to shade them, sometimes they can look too harsh, and feathers, especially on wings, all sort of just mold together and are layered on top of each other. But I made it all darker because it wasn't popping the way I wanted it to, and I oversaturated my page, and which isn't amazing. My sketchbook isn't brilliant for watercolour either, but I managed to not rip the page with the watercolour paint. I did rip the page with my colouring pencils later on when I did the pigeon headshot, the very first sketch that I did. I kept going back and forth and weakening the page and layering colours, and yeah, I made mistakes. We all make mistakes. It's really important to make mistakes as an artist, and I learned that the hard way. I'm learning it every day, but now I don't rip up my page and cry. I just bury the art at the bottom of my art pile, which is an improvement. I should get better, but anyway, I think I've blabbed on enough about how I'm colouring and painting, and you can see how I'm colouring and painting, and art shouldn't have rules anyway. There's no right way to do it, and I was just having a bit of fun. I made lots of mistakes, and that's okay, and I'm fed up of talking about my art process because it's visually there, and I would like to talk more about pigeon facts because they make me really excited, and I love animal facts and I feel more comfortable talking about them. Also, this really annoyed me, that tiny little bit on the little pigeon face, or the sat down pigeon. That's a bit of kitchen paper that I used. Kitchen paper? Kitchen towel? The toilet paper for your kitchen, because I had too much paint and it was too dark and I wanted to try and bring up a little bit of lightness, but editing that, really annoying. So I've been really passionate about my love for wood pigeons, and I've shared all the positive facts, how awesome they are, they're great flyers, they can produce milk, weird but really cool facts. I have left out a major flaw of this animal, and for a bird that's pretty good at surviving, pigeons are terrible architects. Their nests are basically a few twigs tossed together, barely strong enough to support eggs. There are some really funny images on the internet of pigeons resting on balconies with one egg and one twig to stop it from rolling away. They are just horrendous home builders. And when you're walking in the woods as well, sometimes if you look up into wood pigeons' nests, you can see the eggs from underneath because of the massive gaps. I mean, it's a miracle that the eggs aren't blown away or fall through onto the forest floor. I guess they don't have to be amazing home builders because unlike most birds that only breed in spring and summer, wood pigeons get it on at any time of the year. As long as there is stable food supply, they can and will continue laying eggs, even in the winter, which is amazing. But they usually produce eggs, broods, in spring and summer because that's when there are most bugs and critters for them to eat. As I mentioned before, this is because chicks don't rely on insects, which are seasonal, usually coming out around this time. They rely on both of their parents' crop milk. Some wood pigeon pairs can raise up to 4 broods per year. A brood can contain up to 3 eggs. There was one pair that raised 6 broods in a year, over 20 chicks in just 1 year. Amazing parents. So wood pigeons usually hatch at around 17 days after they've been laid, so 2 to 3 weeks, and they spend approximately 33 days in the nest before they fledge. So altogether that's a month and a half to 2 months. Then they take a year to find a mate, settle down, build a house. Okay, well, a house is a bit of a stretch. Build a wooden floor. I mean, it's more than I can afford right now, and in this current climate, well done them. Now, speaking of nests and parenting, wood pigeons are some of the most devoted partners in the bird world. Wood pigeons often mate for life. So cute! They will preen each other and even kiss by touching beaks while sharing food. I actually was so lucky. I was walking along the beach back to my university and I saw a couple of wood pigeons just snuggling with each other and preening each other, and I will share that video now. It's not the best quality because, my camera phone is not very good. But, oh, so cute. Anyway, here's the video. I mean, come on. They are the sweetest birds and they were just so romantic. I really, truly believe that romance is not just reserved to humans. I think so many different animals are so clever in ways that we don't fully understand. Like whales, beluga whales can communicate through whistles. They have nicknames for each other. I just think that we'd be really arrogant to think that humans are the only ones who experience love and happiness and joy and can tell stories, Anyway, back to the sketching, colouring. I had to do these the next day because I did them in the morning and had to rush off for uni, and I've left my 4 favourite till last. And I chose to do colour pencil because I think the top left corner was the most vibrant and had the most exciting colours, and I really enjoyed doing it and it was really fun, so that's why I did it. But as I mentioned before, my video taking skills were not very great and the camera work is incredibly shaky. I tried editing it, but nothing worked, so I've just thrown in a few time lapses so that I can try and salvage as much of that video as possible. But no, I really enjoyed it. Now, I'm really passionate about pigeons because they're really cool animals. They're romantic, they're intelligent, they're fast, they're just really amazing. But that's not the reason they have such a special place in my heart. It's because pigeons in Britain weren't always seen as feathered pests. We brought them here. Humans, it's our fault, and we depended on them for centuries in so many things, and then we just abandoned them. We left them to survive in a world that we built and no longer welcome them in, and I think that is so upsetting. And anyway, let's talk a little bit about the history of pigeons in Britain. Let me take you back. Ancient Britain, the Romans, over 2,000 years ago. The rock pigeon, Columba livia, is the ancestor of modern pigeons, and I've already said this, it wasn't native to Britain, it was introduced by humans, most likely the Romans. Probably, we're not 100% sure. But the Romans domesticated pigeons for food, communication, and even religious purposes. They built columbaria, which were pigeon towers, across their entire empire, so that the pigeons could be used to send messages between garrisons, so an early form of military communication. And by medieval Tudor Britain, so the Middle Ages, the 5th to 16th century, pigeons were a sign of status and wealth. So the nobles, monks, and large estates had dovecotes, so circular stone towers filled with pigeons. Pigeon meat, squab, it's a great word, but really sad sentiment, was a delicacy, and their guano, so their poo, their droppings, was an important fertiliser, and the birds were left to roam freely, knowing they'd returned to their towers to breed. So a lot of birds roost, which is where they come back to the same place, a safe place away from predators and high off the ground. And we shaped pigeons' natural instincts. We don't know if it was definitely natural instinct, but they always returned home because we made them depend on us. And this might have already been an original thing, so maybe, for example, guinea fowl in the jungles, they know to roost up high. But yeah, we manipulated them to come home every day for evening meal or morning meal. And then if we didn't rely on them enough already, we get into war and communication. So the 17th to 20th century. Traders and explorers took pigeons on ships as both a food source and as messengers. Victoria Britain saw a rise in pigeon racing and fancy pigeon breeding, turning them into beloved pets, and people would pay a lot of money and there would be lots of spectators. It would be a huge sport. And during World War I and World War II, pigeons were military heroes, saving thousands of lives with the ability to carry messages across enemy lines. Pigeons were treated as soldiers, pets, and food, but never pests. So when did we begin abandoning these beautiful beloved birds? During the Industrial Revolution, so to the 18th and 19th century. As Britain became more urbanised, the need for pigeon meat and guano declined. So dovecotes were abandoned and many domestic pigeons were left to fend for themselves. These abandoned pigeons didn't return to the wild because Britain isn't their natural habitat. Instead, they adapted to city life. Not only that, but after World War II, pigeons were no longer needed. This is the 20th century. The military stopped using messenger pigeons in favour of radio and telephone communications, and the government shut down the National Pigeon Service, which had trained over 250,000 pigeons during the war. Not only that, but pigeon racing also declined, and many racing birds were either lost or abandoned. And by the late 20th century, pigeons went from valued companions to urban pests. They had no dovecotes to return to, so the pigeons nested in cities. They adapted to eating scraps from human food and became dependent on urban life. Cities banned feeding pigeons, like in Trafalgar Square in 2003, despite the fact that humans had spent thousands of years feeding them. And pest control companies started calling them rats with wings, even though rats are intelligent, but that's a whole different story. They're really clean and very smart, and I do not want to leave it on a sad note because pigeons are thriving and they're awesome animals, but I want to quickly talk about their homing instinct because a pigeon can find its way home from over 1,000 miles away. They can memorize city layouts and using landmarks to navigate. They are so intelligent. But we're now at the end, so thank you very much for watching and see you again soon. Bye!